In order to donate your t-shirts to Frontline Arts, you'll first need to cut them into postage stamp sized pieces. And to do this, you'll need a 100% white cotton t-shirt, a cutting mat, a cutting edge if you want it, scissors, and a rotary cutter. And the first thing I'm doing is cutting off the neckline to the t-shirt. And I'm doing this because our beater does not like super hard and rough things, and also we don't want that polyester thread in the beater. So I've removed the entire neckline using my fabric scissors, but you could also do that using a rotary blade. I'm going to be switching back and forth in order to show you how to use the different tools and what they're best at. But right now it's just easier to use the scissors for me. So now I'm cutting off the sleeves because they have a lot of different hems in them, and I'm taking them off both sides, putting them to the side because there's still plenty of fabric that we can take from that. And now I essentially have a muscle tank without sleeves or a neck. So now I need to cut off that seam along the bottom, and I'm just using my scissors, fabric scissors on one part, and then I brought out my handy dandy Olfa rotary cutter that I use for quilting, and I'm spreading out the fabric nice and smooth so that I can just get a nice clean cut along the bottom edge. Now I have a t-shirt with no seams and two little sleeves off to the side that I will take apart later. But now you have to remove the seam from the shoulder, and that's what I'm doing now, using my scissors. So now I have a t-shirt with no seams on it whatsoever. So I'm just cutting it off the sides. Even though there's no seam there, I'm just making it into two pieces so that it's easier to cut. So I'm just taking my fabric scissors to do that. It's handy to have both a rotary cutter for this and a pair of scissors, but you can really make do either way. So now what I'm doing is I am taking my rotary cutter and I am cutting that back piece in half to make it easier for myself again, but obviously you can use a pair of scissors to cut it in half as well. That's just what I found easier. And then I'm taking my big cutting edge, which isn't a ruler, this is an actual cutting edge that protects your fingers when you're cutting, because rotary blades are very sharp and very dangerous, and if you're not paying attention and you're rushing and you're watching TV, you could really hurt yourself. So please be careful when you're using them. So I'm cutting it in half, and one side I am going to cut using my rotary blade to show you how to do that, and then this side I'm using the rotary, and the other one I'll use scissors. So what I'm doing is, a postage stamp is essentially 1 inch by 1 inch. This doesn't need to be super exact, so what I'm doing is I'm using my cutting mat to line up the bottom of that t-shirt, measure 1 inch, and then use the rotary to just cut a long strip edge to edge. I sped it up because you can only watch this so many times. It's just you're cutting 1 inch strips of fabric of t-shirt, and then we'll cut them even more in the next step. But this part is super easy with the rotary blade, definitely harder with the scissors, but I'm right about to do that now with the scissors. So the reason this is a little more challenging is it's hard to get an even, consistent 1 inch strip unless you're very accurately measuring and marking, which you don't want to do because you don't want all that stuff on the t-shirt that we then turn to paper. But I did find it was easier to fold it in half to add a little bit more bulk and made it a little bit easier to cut. So now I am taking those sleeves before I cut the strips, and I am taking off the 3 seams on the t-shirt. Super easy. And then it just turns into a little piece of fabric that I then cut into strips with the rotary cutter as well. And then I'm going to do the other sleeve with the t-shirt. It's just all about getting off all those pieces with thread so that they don't clog up the beater. So now I have this nice big ball of strips, and on one side I may be using the scissors and one side the rotary cutter. I found this easier with the scissors, I just took about 4 strips and I eyeballed a stamp-sized amount. Again, not an exact science. And I just sat there cutting away, grabbing a few at a time, not enough that it won't cut through. But that's the nice thing. With normal scissors, this would probably be hard, but with fabric scissors, it's definitely, it makes easy work of those layers. So now that that side is done, all in little post-sized pieces, I am attempting now to cut postcard size bits, not postcard, postage stamp size bits with a ruler, and that was a terrible idea. I was trying to be super exact, but it took too long and it was just a mess. So when you're using a rotary blade, just be super careful. It just makes me nervous. I don't want to cut myself. So I kept my hands far away from it and I really just pushed hard on the blade so that it would cut the fabric without moving it, and just be really careful. So now that I'm done, I have this nice little pile of postage stamp pieces from the first half of the shirt, and I ended up doing the other half off camera, but now you're going to put all those little pieces into a bag. One half of a t-shirt fits in, at least a large t-shirt fits in a sandwich bag, and you are ready to donate your nice cut up t-shirts for us to use in Scrubs paper and Frontline paper. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this helpful, and if you need any information about this or mailing it to us, email Lindsay at frontlinearts.org.